we didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't have a job. He now has no job. So we prayed. We had a little bit of money left in the bank that we had been saving, and we prayed. Bills came up, and the money kept going down and kept going down and kept going down, but we kept praying. It got to the point where we didn't have enough money to stay in the place that we were staying, but we didn't have enough money to do anything else. So we scraped together what we could, and we started to pray, Lord, what are we going to do? My husband was on YouTube one night and saw this wonderful video, and it's a man talking about how we declare God's mercy, and we declare His promises that He puts in the Bible. We declare His goodness. And so we started every night taking 2 portions of that. We prayed with our kids, and we decided that we were going to pray boldly, and we were going to ask God for exactly what we thought we needed or what we wanted. And we were to constantly declare His goodness and His mercy. And at the same time, we were going to expect that He was going to keep His promise. Those things are all biblical. They're all true. They're what God has laid forth for us. But a lot of Christian people feel uncomfortable with that thought. I did. I was scared to death. How dare I declare? How dare I expect? How dare I be bold in God's presence? But that's what we're supposed to do. It doesn't mean be snotty or rude. It means be bold in the fact that God will keep His promises. Expect wonderful miracles because God told us that we can. And to declare His mercy and His goodness and His greatness always. So we didn't know what we were going to do. And I had talked to my mom and I had talked to my aunt. I said, please pray with us because we don't know what we're going to do. We're in a really tight situation. But we really felt that God wanted us to move. It was overwhelming. So my husband and I got up one day and we decided we're going to figure out how to do this. We had contacted a guy when we were here and had found a house. It was a rent to purchase. And he said, yes, you can purchase the house right away and basically you'll just rent it until you can refinance it into your own name. I'll finance it for you. And we thought, what a blessing, what an answer. The house wasn't perfect. It was tiny. We are 4 people. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. But we thought, it's within a range that we can afford once we get jobs. It is not perfect, not even real pretty, but it would work. He said he would work with us on the down payment because he knew that we had just taken our daughter to college. And he knew that my husband and I did not have jobs yet. So we thought, an answer, a miracle. So we get loading. And we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We have a storage unit. Because living in Texas where we were living, we couldn't afford the rents for the huge houses to put our stuff in. And so we had a storage unit. We didn't know what we were going to do with all the stuff in the house. We just didn't know. This is when the miracle started. My mom sent us $200. My aunt sent us $700. My husband's mom put our U-Haul on her credit card. We had just enough. Just enough. So we loaded. My husband and the kids, they loaded everything. I couldn't load anything. I could barely do anything. I ended up with heat stroke one of the days because we were out so long and we were trying to get stuff done so quickly. But we loaded, and we loaded quickly. All the while we felt this is what God wants us to do. This is the direction that God wants us to go. So we headed out. We had enough for gas, food, and nothing else. We figured we would get here and we would stay in that house and we wouldn't have any extra bills or anything until we could get work going. And that's when Satan stepped in. On our way here, we blew a tire. We had no extra money for that tire. None whatsoever. My aunt sent us $400. Covered 2 tires because the guy said, "You're really close to this other tire on this trailer blowing out." So we were grateful because my husband had a U-Haul and we had found an old boat trailer and purchased it to put stuff on. We'd found another old trailer and purchased it to put more stuff on, and our Yukon was loaded to the gills. So we got the tires on and we inched. My mom offered to put us in a hotel room one night. And we took her up on it. We were so tired, so mentally tired and physically tired that we needed the break. So we kept going. The next day, $200 showed up, right when we needed it. Because food for a family of 4 is very expensive. Gas, very expensive. When you go to Taco Bell and it's $28 because they're charging you almost $3 for a bean burrito, it's pretty hard. And with no way to keep anything cold, it was hard to go to a grocery store and get stuff and do it that way. So we land here and we go to the guy's office where he has the house. And all of a sudden stuff gets really weird. They tell us, no, we want $2,100. We didn't have that. They give us this contract and have us sign all this stuff, and we're reading it. We're thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound quite right. But maybe we just didn't understand because we got so excited. So we stayed in a hotel that night. And my husband's going through the contract, and it's all a joke. He said, it's one big joke. They don't know what they're doing. And he said, we can't stay there. We can't do this. And then we started to panic, because where? Where is money going to come to put us someplace else? Then $250 shows up out of nowhere. There's no name attached to it. It shows up in our bank account. Then my mom yesterday said she felt that God was pushing her to give us money, and she said, I didn't have it. And she said, when I looked in my bank account, there it was, the $200 to give you. We've been here for 3 nights. We're broke. We have $200 to our name. We don't know where any more money is going to come from. We had a lapse in faith for a little while because we got so scared. We had literally stepped off that cliff. We were out in the air. We were hovering, but here's the thing. We were hovering. We were not falling. We were hovering. Because God was holding us up. We're still staying in hotels. I have $112 in one account and $74 in the other account. We don't know where our next room's going to come from. We don't know where our next meal's going to come from. But one thing we do know is that God is watching over us. God is taking care of us. He's not letting us fall. We stepped off, and He's not letting us fall. He's keeping us up. It's not wonderful. It's hard staying in a hotel. It's hard not knowing where you can settle down. It's hard not knowing where money for your bills is going to come in. We have mountains to climb, and we don't know how. But last night, my family and I sat down, we prayed, and we thanked God for what we do have. We thanked God that money trickles in here and trickles in there to help us survive. And we thanked God for the jobs that we know we're going to have. Because Monday, I'm going to go in and sit down with a gentleman that said that he would like to hire me. And my husband has a job opportunity with a county job that he would be wonderful at, and he could stay home and stay out of the big rigs. But we stepped off. We stepped off that cliff. And I can't even say we stepped, we jumped. But we're hovering. God's hand is holding us up and we are hovering. It's scary. It's so scary to step off. But we're going to be okay. I don't know how, but we're going to be okay. Because that's God's promise. So we're going to continue to declare. And we're going to continue to come before God boldly. And I'm going to continue to cry because that's what I do. I cry. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm angry. But my God is holding us up. My God is protecting us. My God is putting a roof over our heads day by day, and He's putting food in our mouths every day. That's my God. I hope somebody else out there who needs to see something like this finds this and listens to it. It's long. I would give up on it too. But there's a message here. We stepped off that cliff. We stepped off that cliff. And we are not falling. We are not falling. I hope that God grants peace. The same peace that my family and I are learning how to have, because you have to learn how to have that peace. You don't just have it. We're too human to just have it. But our God is bigger than our problems. Our God is greater than our problems, and our God has already solved our problems. My kids are 12 and 13, and they're learning now that God is bigger. And the people that we've met have given us messages from God. One lady at the storage unit that we found to put our stuff in, because we had no place to put our U-Haul stuff and we couldn't afford the U-Haul any longer. She said, "Well, I believe this, and this is exactly how I'm going to close. God brought you to it. God will bring you through it. God's bringing us through it. He'll bring you through it too."